Hey everyone, it's me Lone, hope you're doing alright, and today we got some more information released about Starfield. Bethesda uploaded a trailer for one of the game's companions called Vasco, and today I want to talk a little bit about that, but more to the point, approach the broader question as to why Bethesda hasn't released any proper gameplay for Starfield yet. I'm sure many of you are dying to see it, and are still wondering why we haven't gotten any yet, so I want to share my thoughts about this today, and to be very clear, I'm not sharing anything confidential. These are purely my thoughts and speculations as now a Bethesda fan. So if you enjoyed this video, please like it, I would really appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new, and please consider supporting me on some of my other social media platforms like Discord, all of which are linked in the description below. So with that out of the way, let's get to the content.
How can I be of assistance?
Okay, so as I said, Bethesda released a new trailer today about one of the game's companions called Vasco, and if you missed that, I'll link it in the description below, though you are seeing footage of it on screen right now. And yes, it is a fairly short video, we're not getting that much information about Vasco as a companion, let alone Starfield as a whole. But if you're still dying for information about this game, this is one place to go, and we do get to understand Vasco as a companion a little bit, how they're like, how they're going to be helping you as you play Starfield, potentially if you recruit them as a companion, so on and so forth. So very, very small, but still nice to see. Though I'm sure people are asking, as I said in the intro, why are Bethesda holding things so close to their chest? Why haven't we seen proper gameplay for Starfield yet? And of course, we've seen trailer footage, but as you know, that trailer footage was in-engine. And when it comes to in-engine footage, you always need to be a little bit careful. It doesn't necessarily correlate with the actual gameplay experience that we'll be experiencing when the game is launched. So yes, we need to be careful, but let me just kind of provide my reasonings as to why I think Bethesda is holding things so close to their chest. Now, again, this is not based on any insider information. I'm just talking about my experience as a fan and also as someone that has followed Bethesda so closely for I don't know how many years now. So I think the biggest example that we need to bring up when it comes to this is Fallout 4. If you remember Fallout 4, that was a game that was announced in June 2015. Right? And we didn't know, as I said in previous videos, we didn't know anything about that game prior. We didn't know if it was real, if it was actually happening, and then we got a leak about it, right? And then we kind of found out that way. But if Bethesda had their way, we would not have heard anything about Fallout 4 until it was announced in June of that year. So clearly, based on even just that experience, Todd and BGS like to go about things in a certain way. They like to have, in particular, a fairly short marketing campaign when it comes to their games, right? So with Fallout 4, it was 5 months or 6 months or whatever it was. That's how they've typically done things, and obviously it's worked for them. Like Fallout 4 was a massive success. I think at one stage it was like Bethesda's biggest launch ever. It was absolutely insane. So that's why they've done things a certain way in the past. But obviously Starfield's been different. Starfield has been known, it's been announced for years now. So it doesn't necessarily correlate with the experience of Fallout 4. So why am I bringing it up? As we know, Starfield is a new IP, right? Starfield is not Elder Scrolls, it is not Fallout, it is not a franchise or an IP that has an existing community, an existing consumer base that understands the franchise back to front, understands the games back to front, know everything about them when it comes to the history and lore, all that kind of stuff. That is not Starfield. Starfield does not have that advantage. As a brand new IP, we, especially when the game was just launched just announced, we knew nothing about Starfield. It was literally an idea, a game that Todd and the BGS team had come up with. So we needed to be communicated everything, literally everything about Starfield to understand it, right? So knowing that, yes, Bethesda has almost been forced to talk about Starfield and to start communicating that game and set the platform and the foundation for when it's eventually released in November of this year. They've been forced to do that as a new IP. So that's why we've had some information about Starfield. But I still think, like, it's my personal view that Todd and BGS still like the idea of having a short, kind of big marketing campaign for Starfield. So while they've been forced to release certain information about Starfield, and all we've gotten is pretty much concept art, the interviews that we've done, the kind of the Wanderer video that they did, that very small stuff like that, kind of small tidbits of information. We still haven't seen proper gameplay, right? And the reason I think we haven't seen proper gameplay is because in Todd's eyes and in BGS's eyes, that is their big campaign. When they release the proper gameplay later this year, that's going to be the equivalent of a Fallout 4 5 to 6 month marketing campaign. Like, that's when they're going to release everything and everyone's going to lose their minds. They're essentially trying to replicate what they did with Fallout 4 in the form of a new IP with Starfield that needed to be communicated prior. Really, that's what they're trying to do, and obviously it's clever, it's working. Like, people are getting teased this information and they're just wanting more and more and more. If you actually look at the comments of that Vasco trailer, people are chomping at the bit to get more information about Starfield and specifically proper gameplay footage of Starfield. Bethesda know what the hell they're doing, all right? They know exactly what they're doing, and I think because of that, as I said in a past video, Starfield is going to be a major hit. But I think that's exactly the reason why, is because Todd really wants that Fallout 4 style campaign, and he did everything he could, and BGS did everything that they could to get it in this kind of form. So I think that's why we haven't gotten proper gameplay footage yet. But of course, the question is, when are we getting actual gameplay footage for Starfield? And I think if this was a normal year, if E3 was going to be on, it would have been released at E3, and that would have been in June of this year. You know, if they stuck to their previous timelines, we probably would have seen, you know, big kind of B3 presentation, Todd get on stage, release a bunch of gameplay about Starfield. That was probably the sure bet. But of course, now with E3 being cancelled, the question, you know, has to be asked, well, when are we actually going to be getting this footage for Starfield? It has to happen at some stage. They have to release footage at some stage. We need to know what we're buying. We're not going to blindly buy a game that we know nothing about. And I think the next big thing that we can say that Starfield will be announced at in terms of its footage will be Summer Games Fest. So Jeff Keighley obviously has tweeted out that Summer Games Fest is happening. It's happening in June. You can be sure that Bethesda is probably going to be there. Again, this is not information that I have or knowledge that I have. I'm just speculating. But I think it's a sure bet that we're going to be seeing actual Starfield footage at Summer Games Fest. And it's June. And then the game's launch is in November. Sounds a lot like Fallout 4. So I think that's why they're doing it the way that they are. And I'm excited to see Starfield footage. I want to see what the game looks like. I want to see what the actual gameplay experience is like, and to see everything that Bethesda has been working on. Because, you know, again, we don't need to beat a dead horse, but Fallout 76, rough launch, they're taking their time with this. It's a game that has been in the making for a long time now, and they don't want to stuff it up like they did Fallout 76. They don't want to have a game that at launch, when you search it up on Google, all you can see are all the issues that people are having. They don't want that. I don't think that we'll get that with Starfield. I have a lot of confidence in BGS that they can turn it around. As I've said in the past, they are a super talented bunch of people there. They're an amazing group of people there. I think they have it in them to make a game that's incredible. Is it going to be Game of the Year? Is it going to top Elden Ring? I don't know. I'm not going to make any kind of assumptions. We need to wait until we play the game and then make our judgments then. But at the very least, I think that's why we haven't seen proper gameplay for Starfield yet. And I think it's going to be coming at Summer Games Fest in June of this year. So if you have any thoughts, Ray Sanders, let me know in the comments below. But with that out of the way, let's get to the conclusion of this video. Alrighty, that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And until next time, this has been Lone. Please take care of yourselves. And would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.